Hello, America. Bruce Bongard here, virtual presidential candidate under the Proudican Party. I'm continuing along with Section 1, Economic Issues. Question number 3. What is your perspective on the recently passed $700 billion economic stabilization plan? Will it be successful, and will things get worse before they get better? First off, I want to say that I was not a big fan of the quote-unquote rescue or bailout approach. I thought that whole philosophy was basically flawed from the start. Instead of looking at it from a trickle-down, top-to-bottom approach, I thought the best approach would have been to treat it as an investment approach from you and I, everyday average Americans, from a bottom-on-up approach, an investment approach. And here's how I would have dealt with the situation. Essentially, I would say whatever investment that you as an individual wanted to make, let's say you made $5,000, what would happen is after a period of 5 years, you would actually receive a 125% return on that initial investment. Now, how I would distribute that across is I would present it as a 25% tax burden reduction on your taxes on an annual basis. So, for example, if you put up $5,000 every year for the next 5 years, your tax burden would be reduced by $1,250. So by the end of that 5 years, you will have recouped $6,250 in benefits or investment return on investment. That's how I would have dealt with the problem. I would have also handled it looking at it from a sort of like an electronic bond approach, which I think is very progressive, as opposed to looking at it from dollars and whatever the current mentality or current approach is. So that's how I would have approached it. Will it be successful, the current $700 billion bailout approach? I'm hopeful that some of that monies will be able to filter down to where it is needed in the credit industry. The problem is there's a lot of greed and corruption at the top. Within Wall Street, within even our government, there's a degree of that. And so the trickle-down approach has not really worked in our economy. Instead, an investment approach really drives and pushes our economy. And I believe that is really the approach which would have worked best in this particular type of situation. So now, what will be your top economic priorities in the first year of your presidency is question number 4. I tell you what, all these issues that I was talking about before were very important. We're talking about housing, we're talking about economics, we're talking about job growth, we're talking about energy solutions, healthcare. Maybe that might be able to be put on, not on the back burner, but to a lesser degree. But I think all of them can be bundled up and kind of tackled as one or a few very critical progressive solutions, outside the box prolutions, that will actually deal with and fix these problems. I'm a firm believer in the KISS process, which means keep it simple, stupid. And anytime you can take a multitude of issues, boil it all down into a commonality or a common set of solutions, that's going to be the best and simplest approach, and it's going to win the hearts of everybody and the hearts of all Americans out there. Going back to question number 5, what am I asking you as Americans to sacrifice? Well, if I was going to be president, and let me also throw this out there, that as I said, I am a virtual presidential candidate. I'm not actually a candidate for president in that I'm trying to get ballot status or whatever. I'm not really concerned about the office. I was more concerned about getting solutions out to you, the American people, and getting them out to the people that really need to make these decisions. Those people in government need our help, and I believe they need creative approaches in which to address some of these problems. And those are where my outside the box solutions, I think, thrive. I believe I can bring that innovative type of creativity and problem solving approach to come up with some of these solutions, or at least help kick some of these things off. So here's what I'm asking you as Americans to concede, or basically where you're going to need help. So if we were to go with that first prolution that I unveiled, the Proudican Calendar, I'm asking you to switch over from an 8-hour day to a 9-hour day. I'm asking you to migrate from a 7-day week to a 9-day week structure. Financially, I'm asking everybody to kind of tighten up their belts and look for areas where they are looking at things from a needs perspective versus a wants perspective. That all needs to take place. With all that, productivity, pushing productivity up, looking at your job from a 3-day perspective versus a 5-day perspective, all those things will come into driving up our economy and pulling us, catapulting us out completely of this current economic downturn that we're in. Having said all that, once again, I would like to say thank you for your attention. My name is Bruce Bongart, virtual presidential candidate under the Proudican Party, saying God's peace be with all of you, and take care.